Color grading is arguably one of the hardest things to do in the filmmaking process, from pre-production to delivering the final product to the client. It seems like color grading is always that thing that, at least for me, I always got hung up on. So I want to show you my process and something that I've been, some tools that I've been using recently to make it easier for me, because I am not like a colorist. I am a cinematographer first and foremost. And I believe in getting it right in the camera and then pushing the grade and pushing the image in the grade. So yeah, I just want to show you some things that I do, my process, my little tricks to get a beautiful looking image. So we're going to be looking at this shot that I did. This was for a buddy of mine. His name's Zach Carter. He owns a production company called Chapter 2 Media, and his client is called Kinetic. And this is the shoot we did for them. This is the log. This is the S-Log3 with a CST to Rec 709. And then here is the final grade. So going to be showing you how I did that. My process typically is very simple, and I do kind of the same thing over and over. Just, change things up here and there a little bit. Nothing too crazy. I believe in getting it right in camera. However, just a fun little thing is I think cinematographers that understand color grading are really, really good cinematographers, because there's times on set when I know that I can fix it in post, and not fix it in post in a bad way, but I'm just I know we don't need to spend the time the next 30 minutes doing this. I can just do one little thing in the color grade, or if it's with a colorist that's doing the project, they can do it, and we don't need to spend 30 minutes and then get behind schedule. That will make you more valuable to a production than you can even imagine. So yeah, the tool that I've been using to help me do this, as you can see, my node tree is actually really simple. I actually don't even need these. I don't need those. What I've been using is actually a tool called, that's the wrong node, dehancer. Dehancer is a plugin that it's like a film emulating tool, a film emulating plugin, and I've really loved it. And there's times I'm going to walk you through, kind of my process for it, but I don't use everything always. By the way, if you want to get dehancer, if you see that this might be a tool you want to get, I've got a affiliate code down below, link down below for 10% off. Just use code, the code, that's so weird saying that. Use code Josh Miller. Use the code Josh Miller DP and it'll get you 10% off. They have monthly plans, lifetime plans, yearly plans, they got the whole thing. So Josh Miller DP, save you some money. Let's start with, I'm actually just going to show you how I do this from the ground up. So for this one, at least, I only needed to make 3 nodes. And the middle node, I'm going to go down and select dehancer. And then I choose my camera, Sony FX3, and then make sure that it's in the S-Log3 sgamut.cine. So that gets us here. Now, one of the cool things about dehancer is, again, like I said, it's a film emulating tool. So it emulates film. And the first thing that one of the first options that you're going to get is the film. And what's really cool is, so back in the day, and I'm guessing whoever shoots on film, I have not, unfortunately, yet in my career, I really want to, but is they would shoot on a film stock, and then they would actually print that stock after, they would take the negative and they would actually print it on a different stock. I thought that was really fascinating. I looked that up and I was like, that's super interesting. So there's tons, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit more of these, but the one for this that I chose is Kodak Portra 400. And if you've ever shot on film, stills, that 400 and 800, those are stocks. I think I actually, hold on. Okay, so I don't have a 400 or an 800, but I do have, this is a Kodak Portra 160. So yeah, this is, it's film. So then I then, like I said, then they would print it on something. And if you're familiar with color grading, you know that the Kodak 2383 is this. It's a popular print and look that it just really makes things look awesome. So that is my film, what I like filmed it on. And then if I throw on the Kodak 2383, boom, not too bad. Not too bad. But going into some other things, I actually there's a ton of different options in dehancer, tons of options, and I actually am not a huge fan of the film grain that's in here. It feels like it adds noise to the image, and it gets distracting, at least for me. And maybe I'm overthinking it, but I actually like to turn the film grain off. And then I like to use just DaVinci's film grain. There's a ton of different options. I usually will do like a 16 millimeter film grain, and you can see, let me just show you, let me just play through. So there's with the 16 millimeter film grain, and then let me turn it off. Let's go back to the beginning. There's with it off. Sorry, I think I said on or off. So that was, the last clip was with it on. This is with it off. So yeah, I mean, I think I might even be able to just like toggle it. Oh yeah, there we go. So there's with it on. There's with it off. Very, very subtle, but like film grain, I love film grain. I think it just adds such a nice texture to the image, and I use it almost always. And you can do different strengths. Like there's 16 millimeter all the way up to 35 millimeter. And if you look at 35 millimeter, it's very, very subtle. And so, it just, if your client or whoever is just like, hey, that's just way too strong for me, no worries. Just give them some 35 mil and you'll be good to go. So the next thing that I do for this image is I actually went in, and there's a couple of other really cool things. So first I did a film compression. And film compression, it just takes those highlights and it just like brings that spot down, or brings those things down. And I really like the way that it looks. So let's see, white point, if it's doing, let's see, let me toggle it. Yeah, if you look at the highlight on his forehead, it's just taking it and just dropping it by, a little bit, and it's just taking the heat off of that highlight. I think it looks really nice. And yeah, so you can play around with that, and it's really nice. So next is, I really like to actually, for this image, I brought the saturation down a little bit. It was just a little bit too much for me. If you see, just like boom, I just brought it down to like, I think it was like 93. Let me go back and look. 90. Yeah, so it was like 90. And it was the saturation was just like maybe a little bit too rich for me. And if we looked in the vector scope, there to there. But another thing that I like to do is using halation. And halation is, in film, it's whenever the brightest parts of the image start to, what is it exactly? Like the film, it like bounces off the back of the film or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And it just, so I don't think it's going to do much in this image. It adds like a little bit of red to the let's see, if we switch it to like 8 millimeter. Yeah, I mean, you can see like it's adding a little bit of like redness to the image. So you can play around with that. And then I actually don't like to use the bloom in here as much because I found another tool that I'm going to show you here in just a second. But that's basically, I mean, that's all I did. Now, like I said, not a huge fan of the bloom as much as this other tool that I found. And the other tool that I found is called Digidiff. Digidiff was created by a buddy of mine. His name's Jake Bain. He's a cinematographer. And the Digidiff is it's emulating diffusion filters. And I'm going to go in here and change boom to Rec 79. Not sure why it says inaccurate, not truly. And then if I put on, so there's tons of different options here. If you know, some of the ones that you're going to see a lot of: Black Pro Mist, Glimmer Glass, Hollywood Black Magic. What are some other ones that Dream Sequence? Which one is that? So you can, you know, they're gonna emulate these different diffusion filters that, you know, you put in front of your glass, and then I can just change the strength of it because I don't want it to. I actually really like the lenses, the Sigma 24-70 art lenses. They're actually really sharp, and usually, you know, we're like, oh, I don't want super sharp, but for this shoot at least, I really liked how sharp they were. I thought that I just, you know, so for something like this, I wouldn't always use the Digidiff, but let's just say on the day when you're filming, your client or the director doesn't want to use diffusion because they don't want it baked in to the image. So instead, you can say, cool, no problem. And then let's just say they come back, the director comes back and it's like, oh man, this image is just so sharp. You're like, we could have done that on the day. Weird. Should have listened to your DP. But instead, we can just do it in post. So let me just turn this up a little bit and let's go full screen so that I can really show you what is happening here. So as you can see, it's just softening the skin a little bit. It's bringing up the shadows a tiny bit. And those lights in the back, it's just blooming them out a little bit. And you can change the size of it. So like, let's just say I'm going to crank this. The size is like the spread, like how much it's spreading from that source. And I just wanted to crank it just so you can see. But like, it's a much smaller thing. And it's obviously that's way too strong. So I'd probably bring it down to like here, maybe something like that. And it's just super subtle. Let's play this through, see what it looks like. Yeah, pretty sick. Just, you know, really subtle. That's for me, that's always my, you know, my goal is I want things to be subtle. I don't want it to be too strong. But we do want punch. Like you want some punch in your image. So, I don't know. You're finding that balance with everything. So, that's my look. That's the look right there. And now, like I said, there are different films, different prints, or there are different prints too, and I'll show you that here in a second, but there are different films that you can film on. And so let's just say for these first couple ones, I'm going to keep the print the same at Kodak 2383, and then the film it's going to change. So this is Kodak Portra 400. I really like this one. I think it looks good. Here is Fujichrome Velvia 50. Never heard of that one, but I thought it looked pretty cool. Just gave like a nice difference in, you know, different look. And then here's one that I found that I thought was freaking cool. All right, so this is Film Rolly Ortho 25. And still the Kodak 2383, and then I just bumped up the grain from 16 mil to 88 millimeter 250D. And just look at, like, dog. That is so sick. Like, I'm definitely going to be using that in a project. Like, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Like, that's a freaking Nike ad. That's Nike. Like that is the look, at least in my mind. Like just that, I don't know. So there's that, and then one more Okay. So now I wanted to show you the difference. There's a couple different film prints, and the like 2383 is definitely one of the most popular ones, but the other one is Fujifilm 3513, and you can see the difference. Let's just go full screen. Just adding more like green into the shadows, but like the skin tone is still staying like there. I mean, I guess it is. Oh, let's see. Boom to here. Like you're seeing the skin tone. It is shifting a little bit to the left, so it's going a little more green. But like it's still on the skin tone line. So yeah, it's a look. Like it's just a different. Let's just play that through so you can see it. Like just has a different look to it, and that's one of the things I think I've really enjoyed about dehancer is there's just different looks, and it does well. And then I want to show you digidiff with this clip. This is where I think the digidiff, like I really cranked it so it like really pops. But like, just look at, oh man, I freaking love this. Thanks for watching. Hope that helped. That's my process. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I have those affiliate links down below for dehancer, digidiff. So use them if you want. If not, totally fine. If you do, appreciate it. It helps me just keep doing this stuff more. Have a good time color grading your footage. Hopefully this stuff has helped, and I will see you on the next one.